So something I come across a lot as a teacher, and something I used to experience myself as a student back in the day, is the feeling of tiredness you get maybe after 2 minutes of playing a piece of music, where you just feel complete fatigue in your fret hand and you just feel exhausted and just want to stop playing the piece. And that's usually because of the use of excessive pressure to hold notes and chords, and holding on to tension in the hand between chords. Because all of that mounts up to this sort of overriding feeling of fatigue in your fret hand. Thankfully, there's sort of some simple ideas that you can consider to fix that. One thing I like to do is to find the biting point of notes, okay? So let's look at this graph. You can see we've got pressure plotted against time. And if we focus in on just the moment we pluck a note, we're physically displacing a string when we pluck. So we actually have to put on a little bit more pressure to actually hold that note while we pluck it. But as soon as we've finished plucking and we're just sustaining the note, actually the amount of pressure required to hold on to that note is significantly less than what it takes to actually hold the note when plucking. So if we look at this example we're going to do now, let's pick a random note on the fretboard. Let's choose C sharp on fret 6 of the G string. Okay, I'm going to push that down with my second finger. There it is. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're just going to gently have the finger just pressed up against it, but not pushing the string. So you just get a click sound. Okay. So now what you're going to do is you're going to find the biting point. Okay, which is the point at which it starts to buzz. Okay. Okay, so we found the biting point of the note there. So that buzzes when we put in just that little bit of more pressure. But now let me do that again, but listen to the sustain of the note. So obviously it's going to buzz when I actually first pluck it, because that's the biting point. But then listen to the sustain of the note. Notice the way the actual sustain is perfect, isn't it? There's nothing buzzing, there's nothing wrong with that sustain, okay? So actually I can let go even more to find the biting point of the sustain. So there's a biting point of the pluck, and there's also a biting point of the sustain. So let's try and make the pluck buzz and then also make the sustain buzz. Now making the sustain buzz and not just letting go is really hard to do, but it teaches you to zone in on the kind of the subtleties in pressure that we can actually get on such a tiny scale. Okay, so here comes my buzzed pluck followed by the buzzed sustain. As I say, it's quite easy just to accidentally let go. It's like it doesn't even feel like I'm pressing the guitar when I'm making that note buzz during the sustain. So really we need to have such tiny amounts of pressure to hold notes, okay? So once again, it's that old saying, we're not bench pressing a car, we are just playing the guitar, okay? So let's think about this kind of minimizing of pressure as we move into exercise number 6. So in this exercise, we want to spread the pressure between the fingers nice and evenly so that we don't have any particular fingers that are pressing a bit harder than the others, okay? So we're going to use the technique we just discussed about finding the biting point of notes. So we're going to start with the fingers just making click sounds. And so on, okay? So we know that we're actually putting the same amount of pressure on both fingers because both fingers are sort of at 0, okay? And then the trick is to find the biting point, okay? So it's going to sound really nasty. Our open G is going to sound clean because it's just an open G every time. But the second and fourth finger, or the second and first finger, are going to sound buzzy and horrible, okay? So let's try and make this sound awful. We just want to hear the biting point of both fingers each time. But better than that, okay? Get it buzzing for every single note, so my second finger's a bit heavy today. Anyway, once you've achieved a nice buzzy version of every single note, okay, then add a little bit more pressure, okay? And then what you'll end up with is this really light, effortless version of the exercise. So give it a try. You'll be amazed at how light your fret hand feels when you're playing through these exercises if you employ that every time. Okay, so let's start exercise number 6.